Tonight, Gitsapalooza is brought to you with the kind consideration and cooperation of Noble Knight Games in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Welcome everyone. We are at Noble Knight Games in Fitchburg, Wisconsin for a summary short-form battle report of Bushido using the Risen Sun rules. I'm here with my friend Justin. Say hi, Justin.
Hi.
All right, and we have my Tengu versus his cult at 70 points. We are playing a new scenario that I saw Jason Enos post called Seikyu. Basically, it's a standard 4-inch diameter area of control objective mission, except that all the objectives are neutral. I'll be back in a moment with the armies. Here we are with the Tengu. I have a giant eagle. I have Sanjakubo. I've got it, who used to be Itsubo, he's now a Hayatake guard. Ryohobo and Torobo rounds me out.
Okay, I'm running with a, the card is called a Shinji, or Shinjai, Yokai Nozumi Rat. Down here I have Pangolin. Next to him I have Waku, the Soul Collector, and Sato, and his friend Sloth. He gets summoned into play.
All right, excellent. Beautiful models. Different from the last time we played. Should be a lot of fun. All right, thank you, Justin. All right, we're going to roll to see who gets to choose deployment. I do not have any... I have one scout. So I get +1. Oh, it doesn't matter. I won by a lot. Sorry, that's what I get for not looking at the camera. Okay, I will let you deploy first, Justin.
Okay.
Here's our deployment. Let's zoom in on the cult, who deployed in a line in the center, and then Sloth is still over here waiting to be summoned in. On my side, I've got the giant eagle on this flank, making a play for that objective. I've got the most of my troops in the center here to try to establish dominance in the center. And then I've got Torobo, who has scout and a little bit of a move advantage, and he's going to try to make a play for that. So we'll see how that all goes. Let us roll to see who gets to go first. All right, looks like you do. Do you want me to go first, or do you want first turn?
I'll take first turn.
All right, there we are. Here we are at the end of turn 1. As you can see, the Tengu have moved forward very aggressively and are sitting on the central objectives entirely. The cult have been a lot more cautious, moving up slowly, getting themselves into position. Obviously, they're playing the long game. That guy in the back meditated, or whatever it's called, doubled his key. And everybody else just kind of moved forward and maneuvered in order to put themselves in the position they want. Of course, Sloth is still over there waiting to be called in. So that's where we are at the moment. I will be getting 6 scenario points for owning all 3 objectives. So at least that gets me out into a pretty strong lead. One of the things I wanted to do, I know you guys have been after me to do a play-by-play and to do some talking about the new edition, and it's been, I've really tried. It's been difficult to get somebody who's comfortable enough with the game to do it, and it's been really hard for me to arrange schedules with like Ben, and of course Carl went back to Japan. So, but I thought I would do my best in talking a little bit about my Tengu and what I what I think about them now that have used them several times. So I'm just gonna, sorry about that. I'm just gonna give you just some quick comments. So this is Chorobo. I will say in general, I think the Tengu are a little bit weaker than they were in the past, but then again, I think a lot of factions are going to have a little bit of a debuff. There's loss of armor across the way. There's, sometimes they can't upgrade as well as they used to. Less hit points, certainly. So they're I think they're significantly more fragile than they used to be. However, they're still very fast. Their basic movement, in essence, has gone from 4 inches to 5 in most cases. They still have Cloud Walk, which is effectively still flying. It's not exactly flying, but it is almost exactly flying. And some of them who could not in the past, or at least I don't think they could, have got the ability to use Ki to bump up their movement. So, as you can see, my whole army has gotten to the midpoint without much trouble at all. So the one big advantage Tengu have in this kind of a mission is they can get to the objectives in the center of the board in turn 1 with no problem at all. However, their ability to hold them, I think, is a little less because they are simply more fragile. I still like Chorobo. He's flexible. He plays pretty much the same. I don't have a big difference. I think he's still a reasonable Vim choice because of his shenanigans. I don't think he's quite as diverse as he was before, but he's still pretty good. I don't have any gripes about him. This is Sanjakubo. Sorry, there's Sanjakubo. The thing that worries me about Sanjakubo is that his price doubled +1, so he's gotten more expensive, but he's lost light-footed. So he now takes modifiers for walking and shooting where he didn't before. Otherwise, he's pretty much the same. I don't think it's a deal breaker. I just, think if you take things away and then you increase the price, but then again, maybe across the grand scale, maybe, I'm sure they tried to balance everything out. So just because on this one figure that seems like a downer, that maybe across the whole range, it works out okay. Ryohobo, who I absolutely adored in the last edition, it's still useful. He is debuffed, but then again, his points are really cheap. He's only 8 points. He can still heal. He can still cleanse. He can still move Ki around, though at a much less level. He's limited to moving 2 Ki around. I guess he can leech too, and he can channel too. But still, for 8 points, I think he's definitely worthwhile. I still think he's a great buy. Itsubo or I'm gonna take me a while. Hayataki Guard. He's a 3-dice fighter. I don't know, though. I like his defensive capability. The new version of his kind of defensive trait is significantly better than the old version was. So I think he actually got a little bump up in utility. So you may see him more in my armies. In this one, because there's only one of him, you only get the buff if you have 2 of these guys. He's just a decent 3-dice fighter. And then lastly, the Giant Eagle. The cool thing about the Giant Eagle for the rest of you who are not Tengu players is that the Giant Eagle is now Ronin. So it's a really cool figure that was a lot of fun to paint. And as fast as I'll get out, its movement is 6. That means its run is 9. Its charge is 12. It's just very useful and scary. Just scary enough as a fighter that people have to watch their mages and their. I wouldn't worry a frontline fighter. I wouldn't worry about it too much. But if you've got a support character or a mage or something like that, something that's rather squishy, I would be worried about this Giant Eagle because it can, reach halfway across the board in one movement, which is pretty frightening. So there you go. There are my summaries of at least the Tengu models I have out on the table right now. In general, I think the Tengu are still very playable. I don't know how many tournaments they're going to be winning, but that might change. I mean, I am not the most tactical player in the world, so I'm sure some of you guys who have a really good handle on this type of game will do very well with them. But in general, I think they'll play pretty much like they played before. I don't see this being a tragedy in the new edition. So anyway, so much for my talking. Let's move on to turn 2. Here's our roll for turn 2. And looks like I get it. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to go first or not. Yeah, I'm going to go first. All right, we'll see you after turn 2. Hello everyone, here we are at the end of turn 2. Like usual, I overextended myself and threw my Hayataki guard over here, over here, and I thought for sure that I could take care of the Soul Collector, but I was wrong, and the Soul Collector survived, and there was lots of fighting and skirmishing and shooting, and it's not too bad for me. Most of his figures took some kind of damage. At the end of the turn, the Sloth got summoned and then attacked the Hayataki guard, but I successfully defended. So anyway, to make a long story short, and this happened over here, and everybody was stunned. We had half the models on the table stunned at one point in time. It was actually pretty funny because Torobo stunned somebody automatically, and then my mage here, Sanjakubo, shot and stunned 2 people with his shots, and then the gal came over and she stunned Torobo, and so everybody was stunned and moving around. So there we go. So I get an additional 4 scenario points, which brings me to a total of 10 to none, to Justin's none. But of course, Justin wasn't really worried about it at this point. He was just playing for position and to do some damage to me for later in the game. So I will get the first victory point. We will move on to turn 3 and see how things go from here. All right, here's our initiative for turn 3. And Justin gets it. Hey everyone, we are actually just starting turn 3, but things have kind of come crashing down for the poor cult. I had some good luck, and I accidentally did something that was very good. Over here, Torobo managed to get a shot off at what's the gal with the neck?
Pengallan.
Pengallan, there we go. Get a shot off at her with his bow and did her last wounds. So there was that, and then he ran over and grabbed this objective, the Rat Man did, which is very cool. It was very smart. And I successfully defended myself, Itsubo or the Hayataki guard, with a key feat, because that nasty soul harvester or collector keeps trying to do things to me, and I keep defending myself, except this last time I didn't, so I'm slow and I always go last. But that didn't matter because I ran my eagle into the back and attacked Sauta, and it killed him. And I didn't realize it, but if you kill Sauta, you end up getting rid of any friendly sloths on the table. And so all of a sudden he went from, Justin went from full strength to 2 figures out of 5. And that's probably just too much, especially with me having a lead. And, the Rat Man at that point is the only figure he's got left. And the collector. But I'm in a much better position to run around and grab objectives. I got lucky in making some pretty key fear tests. I didn't actually fail a fear test. So that the last game we played, I was failing fear tests all over the place. Today, I didn't fail any. It's just the way it goes. So yeah, it's unfortunate the game came to such a crashing end. I had no idea that killing this guy would get rid of the sloth. I was just looking for somebody for my eagle to go after, and with the exit of the gal with the long neck, that became an easy target. So I charged him. So there you go. Anyway, I guess that's it. My opinion of the Tengu is they still pretty much play the way they used to play. They are a little softer, but they are faster. And so if your art is maneuvering and putting yourself into position, they're still good. They're not quite as toothy as they used to be. They're not quite as resilient as they used to be, but they're still fun. They're still basically play the way they did before. So I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with them. I'm looking forward to whatever new models they come out with. So Justin, thank you. I appreciate the game.
Yep.
And I guess we will see you next time on Gitsapalooza.